I'd like to ask Aaron, and again, I don't know how much global recruitment experience you had before
Yeah.
going out on your own, but I know that I talk with a lot of recruiters and they want that experience. They want that
Yeah.
exposure. And it's, I know it's pretty common in tech, especially tech
Yeah.
organizations that are growing now today, but it can be difficult to kind of get exposure to recruiting in different markets. What
Yeah.
are some tips? And I'm throwing you or putting you on the spot here, but what are
Yeah.
some like strategies or some tips that you think somebody who's interested in starting to learn about other markets and like figuring out those nuances to make themselves a little bit more valuable, maybe in their job search,
Yeah.
or maybe just improve on what they're already doing? But what are some things that people can start to do or glean from when it comes to thinking about recruiting internationally? Like, what are some strategies that you wish you had known, or that you would have you would have applied earlier on in your career?
Yeah. Well, in so much as somebody wants an opportunity to recruit globally, I think folks are inclined to assume that the only way to do that is with a big global corporation, right? Like a conglomeration that
Hmm.
has operations on every continent. And these tend to be very large name brand companies that have a lot of cachet, and therefore
Yep.
they have a lot of interested parties. And so it can be really difficult to make a break into companies like that. So because I'm an avowed small business gal, my approach has worked out really well for me. And it's that my clients that are global are small companies based in countries outside the US who already have some US based roles, or they're building a US based team.
Mm. Oh,
So, and this is advice that I would offer any job seeker anywhere. If they're feeling frustrated about their search, they really ought to audit the kind of companies that they're targeting and think
yeah.
about considering other types. So many people have this idea of like they really dream of working for the big brand names. And
Mhm.
certainly I can see the appeal of that. But man, there are some small businesses out there that are doing amazing things. And in
Yep.
my experience, they're really enjoyable to work for. And I think that you can have a really significant impact in a short amount of time. I think that you can have far better sight lines to that impact,
Mhm.
and really establish a name for yourself. So I I think that that is an ideal way to make a break into any new industry, any new discipline, any new market. Start small. Um, I've been really fortunate though in the regard that I didn't need to employ a specific strategy to gain this experience. As I said before, I sort of stumbled into this little bit of a niche. And the big secret about my business, about search and rescue, is that the entire 2+ years that I've been engaged in fractional talent acquisition, all of my business has been inbound, 100% inbound. I've literally
Wow.
never had to market. I've never had
Wow.
to ask for business. And I love that for myself, right? But it
Okay.
also scares the crap out of me
Yeah,
because
that's
I
awesome.
feel I feel very ill-equipped
Yeah.
to market myself and ask for business if and when that day comes. So I haven't necessarily had to be as strategic as a lot of people might need to be as they begin to build this kind of a business.
Yeah.
That's that's huge, and that's Erin. As we wrap up on this part, just give you a compliment. Like that's huge. Well
Oh,
done. Like to have
thanks.
have that all, especially in this market where a lot of companies are just tightening their belts,
Yeah,
and the fact that you've got that coming inbound and you haven't had to navigate the bridge of marketing yourself and doing outbounds. So yeah, well done.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, knock on wood.
Well,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
that
think it speaks to you know, as we talked about earlier, right? People who are considering going out on their own. I mean, you've done a really good job of building a reputable brand for yourself on LinkedIn and a deep network,
Thanks.
and I'm sure that extended beyond LinkedIn. But
Yeah.
it just goes to show, right? Like you play your cards right and you do things the right way. There's endless opportunities for talent acquisition folks.
Yeah,
mm,
I think so. I'll tell you, I mean, there's a number of ways that clients come to me inbound. My favorite, and this has happened twice, and as a matter of fact, One of
Yeah, I'm
them was
curious.
yesterday. Yeah, this has happened twice. One was yesterday. Companies who've reached out to me because they were referred to me by a former candidate, in both cases,
Wow.
a passive candidate that I tried to poach for a client. Ultimately, neither of those led to placements. And these candidates went on to other things. One is internal with a company, the other's on an advisory board. And their current employers are in need of support. And they're like,
Wow.
hey, I remember this recruiter who tried to recruit me once, who I really liked, and you ought to talk to her. So it's great. The inbound doesn't just have to come from, your old manager or
Yeah,
those kind of referrals. The fact that candidates refer me, man,
Yeah.
that is the most
that's awesome.
gratifying kind of referral.